The arrival of Turks. The concept, the arrival of Turks. The credit of establishing the Muslim rule in India goes to the Turks. Who are these Turks? Turks are the people who belong to Turkey. The Muslim invasion in India began with the Arab invasion of Sindh in the year 712. This was because India, which had broken into many small kingdoms in the 8th century, paved the way for the foreigners to invade India. Okay, and when Arabs conquered Central Asia, that is the region which stretches from the Caspian Sea in the west to China and Mongolia in the east, and from Afghanistan and Iran in the south to Russia in the north, they enslaved Turks. Arabs enslaved Turks. They enslaved Turks and forced them to adopt Islam. And many of these Turks, they turned fanatic, and they also became the great governors and the generals, and became the feudatories of the caliphs also. These caliphs are the religious rulers regarded themselves as a successor of Muhammad Paigambar. Okay, and they were ruling Baghdad. So these Turks, they became a great generals and governors of these caliphs. Okay, and however, with the decline of the Arab power, these Turks, they declared themselves as independent rulers, and they set up an independent kingdom in Persia and Afghanistan. Okay, and this Ghazni is one of the capital of the large Turkish kingdom that ruled Afghanistan. Now let us know few facts about the Arabs. These Arabs were from Arabia, and they were good in trading in many ways. They had already advanced India, and India had a business ties with the Arabs. And some South Indian kings were, some Indians were also had imported horses from the Arabs. And some Arabs had merchants had come to settle down in South India, that is in the Malabar coast, and then they began to spread their faith and began to build the mosque also. The Indian rulers did not object to it, and they were learning each other. But in the 8th century, there was an invasion from the Arabs, and the invasion was from the Muhammad bin Qasim. Okay, and he conquered Sindh in the year 712 CE and Multan in the year 713, and thus these territories, that is Sindh and Multan, they remained under the control of the Arabs around 1.5 century. Okay, now Arabs started invading India. Okay. Arabs also greatly had contributed in many ways. That is, they have translated many of our Sanskrit books and further developed science, astronomy and mathematics, and they also gradually adopted to the Indian way of life and freely intermingled with the local people also. So after the time of the Arabs over, then comes the Turks. Okay, from 1000 CE onwards, many Turkish started invading India. That means they entered India through the mountain passes, that is from the northwest. Okay, since there were no water bodies, they could easily invade India. That means they could come easily. Okay, and they say that they could walk through from India to Middle East countries. Okay, and during those times, you all know that there were no Pakistan, Afghanistan. So India was a very big country at that time. And Turks took advantages of that open space, and they invaded India. Now, beginning from this time, there was several invasion of different times by the different rulers. Okay, and there were a set of invasion which was led by Muhammad Ghazni. As I told before, Ghazni was a place in Afghanistan, and he wanted to establish a big army. That means he wanted to raise a big army, and he wanted to rule his own place and establish a very powerful kingdom. So he needed money, and to that time he had heard that India is a very wealthy and a rich country. Okay, and he decided to invade India. That is, they say that they had been, he was there for 26 years. Muhammad Ghazni invaded, and he was able to do it very easily because he took the advantages of the Indian political system. Okay, the rulers who were there, that means ruling the North India that time, they were not strong enough. Okay, they were fighting among themselves, and they faced to challenge the Muhammad Ghazni. Okay, and Muhammad Ghazni took advantages of the situation. Okay, and there were some Hindu rulers at that time, and those rulers were called as a Hindu Shahi rulers. And the two Hindu rulers that were during that time who were famous were Jaipala and Anandapala. Okay, and they had extended their empire, that is from Punjab to Afghanistan. So Muhammad Ghazni was defeated them. That means he was able to defeat those Hindu rulers, and he got a large tribute from them. So after this, he raided several times India. Okay, you know where he raided? He raided the rich temples of that time. Okay, and he decided to invade the temples from India. It's because in those days the temples were very rich, because the rich used to greatly contribute to the donation to the temples. And we know that in these temples there were lot of money, and he thought he can loot it. And what he plundered, that means he looted the enormous wealth of the temple, and he carried this riches away to his homeland. Okay, Muhammad's most daring raid was Mathura and Kannauj. Both of this are in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, and he raided them in the year 1018 and then in 1026. Very daring raid that he made was against the Somanatha temple, that is in Gujarat, and he plundered the wealth and even the precious stone also. Okay, and the embellished in the temple, that precious stone which is embellished in the temple walls were also being taken away. That means dug out, and he carried away to Ghazni. Okay, some historians have calculated that more than 50,000 people have died defending these temples, and the people were trying to save these temples. Okay, Muhammad Ghazni, he plundered the town and left for Ghazni with hundreds and hundreds of elephants and camels, carrying the gold, silver, costly jewels, and a beautiful gate of the temple also. And they say that he was received with honor by the caliphs, that is successors of Muhammad Paygamba. To sum up, we can say that Muhammad was a successful general and a warrior who never suffered a defeat. Was a great patron of art. That means he encouraged art, architecture and literature in his own country. That is his capital, Ghazni. Okay, and his capital was adorned with many beautiful, that means he had built many beautiful temples, mosques, libraries, museums and universities. Scholars like Al-Biruni and Persian poet like Firdausi, they wrote the great epic Shahnama, and this Shahnama received his patronage. Okay, however, his conquer did not produce any significant result, as he failed to establish the power in India. But his invasion, okay, paved the way for the other Muslim invaders to invade India.